Hello and welcome to the channel. If you're new, my name's Chris and we're glad you came along for the adventure today. Today we're going to be taking an adventure to Hershey, Pennsylvania. As you can see behind me, we are in our RV again. It's been pretty warm up here on the East Coast and Northeast. We've been dealing with a heat wave here, which is pretty unnormal for Pennsylvania this time of year. We're actually breaking temperature records that were set back in the 60s right now, which is pretty neat to be a part of. But it's hot. It's very hot. So anyway, today we're gonna go take a stroll in Hershey. A lot of people come to Hershey and you think of Hershey Park, and Hershey Park is the main attraction, and it is. It's an awesome attraction. But there's a lot of other things that Hershey has, to make it an awesome tourist attraction to be able to go and see things. And we want to bring some of that to you today. So today we're going to be taking a trip on the Hershey Trolley Works trolley, which takes you around Hershey, and really details and highlights a lot of the key parts that made Hershey what it is today. I've never been on that tour before, but I've heard it's an awesome tour to go on. I'm not really sure what to expect, but it sounds like it's going to be pretty fun. After that, we hope to be able to go in the Chocolate World, which is, it's right behind it. Chocolate World is a pretty neat place all on its own. It sits right before you walk into the park, and they have a lot of different things that you can do inside of there. I know they used to have like a movie that you can go in and you can watch. They have a candy experience there where you can build your own candy. They have a massive candy shopping area, or anything Hershey related that you want. You can go in there and do some souvenir shopping. But the main attraction that's inside of there is they have a ride that you can sit on. It's pretty cool to be able to sit on, and you just learn the history of Hershey's chocolate, and how they make their chocolate, and some of the different types of chocolate that they have. So, if you are interested in seeing Hershey, Pennsylvania, and how Hershey came about, we hope you stick along for the adventure today. We're running pretty late. We woke up a little late. And we only have a little bit of a pretty short window to be able to get there. So we're going to head over there now, and hopefully we make it there on time. So let's get this party started. Left without us. That's it. Left without us, dude. It's gone. It's like, nope. Not today. Tickets for the trolley in 10 minutes.
Okay, awesome. Straight ahead.
Okay, is there like a specific place to go?
So you're gonna drive past the crosswalk, okay, and you can park anywhere on the right.
All right, thank you very much.
Okay, so my name is Dirk. I'm your conductor today. I'm the guy that points out all the landmarks along the way. But more importantly, folks, I honestly have the privilege of telling you the story of one of the most remarkable men in American history, Milton S. Hershey. And the guy that's actually taking us on the tour is our motorman, Jim. So everybody say hi to Jim.
Hi, Jim.
This trolley, well, yeah, it's a replica, but it is a replica of the kind of trolleys that used to service downtown Hershey and the surrounding countryside in the early 1900s. And in those days, we had over 35 miles of trolley track, and the track is all gone. So Jim has to drive this thing. Now, he's an excellent driver, but not everybody else on the road is. So please stay seated while the trolley's running. We don't want any of our guests to go rolling in the aisle, unless of course you think my jokes are that good, but I gotta warn you right up front, the jokes are pretty bad. So where does Milton Hershey start, his story start? Actually in a small farmhouse on the south side of town that we'll see later. He was born there September 13th, 1857. His mother's name was Veronica Buckwalter Snavely Hershey. Long name. Everybody just called her Fanny. And nobody knows why anymore. So I like to tell people I don't know the story behind that. But when he was 15, his mother got him an apprenticeship at a candy maker in Lancaster, southeast of here. He loved that job. He finished it when he was 19 and started his own candy business in Philadelphia, because the year was 1876, 100th anniversary of the birth of the country. For that first year, while the centennial was going on, business was great. But when the party was over and everybody had gone home, he learned three things real quick. Business slowed down, times got really tough, and the price of sugar was so high it gobbled up all of his profits, and after 6 years of hard work, he went bankrupt. There's the Antique Auto Club's national headquarters. And if you were to have gone through the red light back there, instead of turning like we did, their national museum is down the road about 1.5 miles. If you're into cars, it's a must-see before you leave town. Up here to your left, you got the Penn State Hershey Rehabilitation Center. Well, that's an extension of the Milton S. Hershey Medical Center. We'll see that later. People come here to recover from surgeries and injuries and things like that, so why would I be talking about a medical facility on a chocolate tour? Well, here in Hershey, we like to tell people that's the best place in the country to come for the treatment of chocoholics. Anybody need dropped off? We come by here every day. We can pick you up later. Nobody ever wants to be cured of that. Coming up in the distance after we go around the bend off to your left, you're going to start to see a very large white building, the West Hershey Chocolate Plant. The plant that replaced the original factory downtown. Now, for those of you who may have already taken the tour of Chocolate World, you saw kisses coming out in a wide conveyor belt, row by row. That's the way they were made in the old factory. This new plant is highly automated. Kisses are still the #1 product. But today, they come out in high-speed conveyor belts, single file, so the computers can kick off defects, and they come out at a combined rate of 856 kisses per second. Well, the fact of the matter is, his first fortune was actually made making caramels. So this is the point in our timeline we like to refer to as BC. Before chocolate. Good, you're with the program. Well, this is the Reese's Peanut Butter Cup Factory. We make 25 million peanut butter cups here every day. We also make Kit Kat bars. Now, if you add the 2 million pounds of candy from this plant to the 3 million from the other, that's 5 million pounds of candy from a town of only 25,000 people. For that reason alone, we are very confident in saying, at least per capita, Hershey has got to be the sweetest place on earth. Now, I'll get back to the story in a bit, but I'd like to tell you something happened in the 1960s. The chairman of the Hershey Trust Company called a friend of his one day, and it was the president of Penn State University. And he said, you know, Penn State should have its own school of medicine, its own medical center. Well, he agreed with him, that was a great idea, but he reminded him they didn't have that kind of money. So he asked him, well, how much money would it take? The president said, you've got to be kidding, at least $50 million. And the chairman's response, well, I think we can come up with that. And in 1963, the Hershey Trust Fund gave Penn State $50 million, but a gift of that magnitude usually comes with a catch. And there was one stipulation. They had to build their medical center right here in Hershey. I'll point that out shortly. Over to your left against the hill, you see the building with all the windows. It's the Milton S. Hershey Medical Center and the Penn State School of Medicine, and that's just the start of it. We now have dozens of additional health care and research facilities all over South Central Pennsylvania. It has a wonderful world-class children's hospital, and it now employs well over 18,000 people in this area. Chocolate Avenue is famous for something else. We have 128 very special street lights. They're coming into view straight ahead, and they're all Hershey Kisses. And of course they are the company's only low-calorie kisses. For an obvious reason, I mean, they're all made out of light chocolate. Oh, I warned you about the jokes. They get worse. Some new shops downtown, past year or two, but on the next street corner on the right is an older brick building called Fenici's Restaurant, an Italian restaurant. And that building there has the distinction of having been the very first peanut butter cup factory. I'll tell you more about the Reese's later. The Hershey Stories on your left, that's our town museum. A lot of interesting artifacts in there. It's a pretty good compliment to a trolley ride. Here's the town square. This is where we hold a New Year's party. About 10,000 people usually show up. We raise the kiss off the corner of the press building. That's not a newspaper building. That's where they used to print all the candy wrappers. We put up a big stage and big name entertainment comes and plays the night for free. And at the stroke of midnight, we raise a 400-pound kiss. Now we have to raise it, because, you know, if you drop something like that into a crowd, we're a little afraid it might get rushed, and that would be a waste of time. It's made out of aluminum. But they set off an enormous amount of fireworks. Everybody has a great time. So if you're in South Central Pennsylvania during the holiday season, you have an open invitation to come to our party. It's kind of like going to Times Square, but you won't have to put up with all the problems of a big city. In 1896, Milton went on a business trip to Chicago. And along the way, he stopped in a small candy store in Jamestown, New York, where he met a beautiful young lady by the name of Catherine Elizabeth Sweeney. All of her friends called her Kitty. Well, he returned to Jamestown frequently after that. Then in 1898, he and Kitty were married in a very quiet ceremony in the rectory of St. Patrick's Cathedral in New York City. And he brought his brand new bride home to the surprise of almost everybody in Lancaster. Milton Hershey's campus starts right there. That doesn't look like a school, does it? It kind of looks like a residential community, because that's exactly what it is. Those are student homes. And we do call them homes, because the Hersheys did not want the kids to grow up in dormitories. They wanted them to experience normal family life, so each student home has a married couple that functions as house parents. There's 8, maybe 12 kids per home, and we now have over 180 homes on campus. Basically, they're houses on steroids. Really big living rooms, dining rooms, kitchens, playrooms, everything you need in a house to make it a home for a really large family. Center of the roundabout is the first of our 2 Spartan statues, and it's a girl Spartan. We admitted girls to the school in 1977, and today it's an even population. Actually, the girls outnumber the boys by a little bit this year. The school's health center is over to your left. Kids go there to recover from the flu, minor injuries, but if any child needs any major medical attention, hey, remember that gift the school gave Penn State in the 60s? There's a world-class hospital right down the street now. Founders Hall is the building to your left, dedicated to Milton and Catherine on Milton's birthday in September of 1970. Get a good look at it. We're going to park right in front of it shortly. This is a residential school, so yeah, it's a boarding school. Kids do live here most of the year, but they go home on weekends and holidays and vacations like any other boarding school student does. Like maybe from those big expensive schools somewhere. But I can honestly tell you there's no school anywhere that any wealthy person could enroll their children in and then try and brag about how great that school's supposed to be that even comes close to what these kids have here. And that's a remarkable statement, especially when you realize it's no longer an orphanage. Today, the school is dedicated to children from low-income and limited resource families, and it is completely free of cost. Spartan Commons off to your right is the high school campus, and the facilities here are so nice, I guarantee you a lot of colleges would love to have a campus as nice as this high school. Now I wish I could take you in to see Founders Hall. When this was built, it was the largest freestanding rotunda in the Western Hemisphere, second only to St. Peter's Basilica in the Vatican. It's 137 feet tall, and if you could walk through the rotunda, you'd end up in an enormous 2,500-seat auditorium that the kids put to pretty good use throughout the year. When the school was first started in the early 1900s, the Hersheys wanted the kids to have 3 things. They wanted them to have an appreciation of nature. Up until 1989, the kids used to live on dairy farms. They got up every morning and milked the cows before they went to school and did all the chores you normally do at a farm. Then we still have a few farms left. If kids want to get involved in the ag programs, they can still raise animals. Then they can raise crops and sell produce to the public at their own market. We have a very well-staffed nature center and an extensive environmental studies program that all the kids participate in for a couple of years. Now the second thing was they wanted them to have an appreciation of God and man. The school does not have any affiliation with any religious organizations, but every Sunday morning we do have a chapel service. Everybody attends and it's non-denominational, and when it's over, if a child wants to attend a service of any faith, the school provides transportation for them. And then the third thing was, back in those days, they wanted them to learn a trade. So what began as a trade school by the 1950s evolved to become more of an academic institution. And on average, over 80% of our graduates further their education at colleges or high-tech trade schools, and that's kind of an impressive number when you know the national average is only 68%. We have a really high set of academic standards we hope the kids can achieve. And interestingly enough, almost every year they have to keep upping the bar, upping the standards, because these kids, they keep meeting or exceeding their expectations. Last year's senior class was a good example. There were 217 students in that class, and between them, they managed to earn a combined total of over 1,200 college credits before they even finished high school here. We have a career path program all the kids follow for a couple of years, gives them a great feel of what to expect in the job markets, and every student leaves here with at least one industry recognized certification and something that can help them out in the job markets. And 97% of last year's class left with at least 3 of those certifications. So what they're accomplishing while they're here, for that matter, the rest of their lives, is just incredible. A lot of people don't seem to realize that Founders Hall just reopened to the public after a 5-year renovation. You can take a free tour of the building. All you have to do is show up Monday through Friday, and unfortunately today is Saturday, right? Yeah. Any Monday through Friday from 10 in the morning to 3 in the afternoon. You park around the corner here. There's a parking lot over there. There's a big porch on the left side of the building. We'll see it as we go around. Ring the doorbell. Great big button about that big. Guard is right inside the door. He'll let you in, and he'll assign you to somebody that will take you all over the building and show you how incredibly beautiful it is, and tell you all about the school and answer any questions you might have, including questions about maybe employment. If somebody wanted to be a teacher here, or house parents, or any of the other dozens of occupations to help out with the kids, they would really be happy to talk to you. Nobody's going to ask me, why do you have fish in the fountain in front of Founders Hall?
Why do you have fish in the fountain?
Oh, I'm so glad you asked. We like to tell people that the artist got a little confused and thought we said Flounders Hall, but you probably think that sounds a little fishy. Oh, I just told it to you for the halibut. I even did that on purpose. Oh, reel you in on that? Yeah, that's a good one, yeah. I better stop before you get crabby. Off to your left, beyond the trees, is the elementary school. You can just barely make the roofs out. The campus goes about a mile in that direction, and it goes more than a mile and a half off to the east and the north in these directions. And this, folks, this is just the south campus. This is elementary and senior high. Middle school's off on the other side of town. To your left is the Alumni Memorial Grove. Every year, the senior class plants a tree in memory of any graduates that passed away the previous year. The center, set up in the form of a large circle, symbolizes the eternal love that Hershey's had for the students for them and each other. And it's become a very popular place for wedding photos, prom pictures. There's a supervisor in each building, but they're only there to give advice. So these kids often end up being the go-to kids in college dorms because a lot of the public school kids have not quite figured everything out yet. Coming up on the right, there's a great building called the Homestead, and that's where Milton was born. Oh, it didn't look like that back in those days. They added on to that little stone farmhouse quite a bit over the years. And those were the girls' apartments. Boys, they live around the corner. And you might ask yourself, how do you get relatively unsupervised high school seniors to behave themselves? Radio interference with the school security system. Yeah. Well, the president of the school lives in the Homestead right between the two, and it's pretty hard to pull anything over on him. He's a graduate himself. But they also have a very high set of moral standards they expect the kids to try to live up to, and they do a good job of it. And there's an interesting incentive program helps out with that, but I'll tell you about that later. Admission to the school, #1 criteria, you have to be a child that comes from a family that does not earn more than 3 times the federal poverty limit. We get about 4,000 applications each year. You can pull them right up off the internet. The school spends a lot of time trying to figure out which of those kids is in the greatest need. They get first priority, and each year about 400 kids get a phone call that tells them they have pretty much won the lottery. Getting a free education from Milton Hershey School, in many ways, is worth way more than any lottery they could ever hope to win. And I do know that for a fact because, well, quite a few years ago, I was very fortunate to have been one of those kids. After it, the church is on your left, but just to the left of the church, behind the pine trees, is a glass house. And inside that is a log cabin. The church's first session house, and it was built in 1732. 1732? That's the same year George Washington was born. That's considered to be one of the oldest unremodeled structures in the entire country. And in 1929, almost 100 years ago, to help preserve it, Milton paid to put it under glass, and it's holding up real well. It's important for people to have entertainment opportunities. They built a picnic grove and a ball field, a big amphitheater, band shell. Entertainment came to town, the park started to grow. We have a water park, 10 acres with a dozen attractions. We now have 15 functional roller coasters. This is a redundant one. That's Lightning Racer. There's 2 of them. And our newest coaster is called Wildcat's Revenge. 147 feet tall, country's largest inverted loop. Quietly set aside his entire chocolate fortune to benefit the only family that he and Kitty felt they ever really had, the kids at the school they loved so much. Now, he said he did it quietly because it was another 5 years before the general public finally found out what he had done. Somebody broke the story on the front page of the New York Times, and the headline read that Milton Hershey had given away $60 million in 1918. That's a staggering amount of money back then. It's a lot today. It all went to a trust fund, and that trust fund today is now worth over $20 billion. The school runs entirely off the interest of that money, and for that reason, we're very happy to say no parent or guardian of any student who ever attends the school writes a tuition check. Everything is completely free of cost. And I mentioned an incentive program earlier because in 10th, 11th, and 12th grades, as long as the kids maintain a good grade point average, continue to show good behavior, and a strong work ethic, they can easily earn scholarship money to go on to college with. Last year's senior class alone left with a little over $17.1 million in earned scholarships. And the school has partnerships with at least 20 colleges and universities all around the East Coast. Oh, off to your left, we've got the Hershey Gardens. 23 acres in size, 130 varieties of roses, and a conservatory with a year-round butterfly atrium. And Hotel Hershey's coming up into view on your right. Milton and Kitty stayed in fancy hotels on their vacations in Europe, and Kitty thought it'd be a nice idea to own her own hotel. So Milton asked the owners of the places they stayed if he could buy building plans. Recognizing a rich man when they saw one, they each tried to charge him hundreds of thousands of dollars, and that got him upset. He did not like being taken advantage of. So he marched down to each of their lobbies, bought a whole bunch of their pretty picture postcards, gathered them all up and sent them home to his architect. Today, Hotel Hershey is considered by AAA to be a 4-diamond facility with 3 world-class award-winning restaurants and a very special spa where you can get chocolate-infused treatments, chocolate body wraps, chocolate facials, those kind of things. Well, here's a good view. You've got, we can just barely make out Founders Hall beyond the silos. We've got the community center downtown. There's a brand new roller coaster that's going, the tall one there. And this building up here, that's the middle school for Milton Hershey School. Originally, it was our first high school, built in the early 1930s. But when we built the new campus, we heavily remodeled it, changed the name to Catherine Hall, and made it the new middle school. One more good story for you. 1912, Milton and Kitty were on one of their vacations in Europe. He'd already put his deposit down for his return, but a couple of days before they were supposed to come home, he got a telegram saying he was urgently needed back here to fix a problem. Well, he wanted to come back on a faster ship. So he tried to get his deposit check back from the first company, but they wouldn't give it to him. They actually cashed that check, and it is on display in our museum if you ever want to see it. He came back in a quick little German liner in time to take care of his problem, but we'll never know what it was. It is lost to history, overshadowed by the fact that the ship he and Kitty were supposed to be on in the first place struck an iceberg. It was the Titanic. Now, knowing what we know about his personality, if he had actually been aboard the Titanic, we can't really be certain he would have set foot in a lifeboat. Call it good luck, good karma, divine intervention maybe. Well, if he hadn't got the telegram, there's a darn good possibility I wouldn't be talking to you today. Maybe the town wouldn't be what it is, or the company might not even exist anymore. And that was before they set aside the trust fund to support the school. So thanks to that telegram, the kindness, the generosity of Milton and Catherine Hershey, and the continued patronage of good customers like yourselves, well, the school continues on its mission of providing incredible opportunities and very bright futures for underprivileged kids. And Milton said later on, when he and Kitty started the school, well, they thought back then if they could help the 100 kids, it was going to be a big success. But since 1909, we've graduated over 11,000, with hopefully many more to come in the future, and that is seriously what all of Hershey is really all about. Hey, do you have any teachers on board today? Couple? Okay, I've got some pamphlets here in the school. I'm going to leave these on the cabinet. Feel free to pick some of these up. Pass them on to people you think should know about the school. Teachers, counselors, social workers, anybody working with kids. We really appreciate you spreading the word. And if by chance, someday, you happen to know somebody that has a child that you think could really benefit from the opportunities the school has to offer, tell them the story I told you today. Tell them to check out the school's website. It's very well done, or just come straight to town and check it out, because it is seriously in the business of saving the lives of underprivileged kids. And one last good announcement. For being such a great audience and allowing me to share this wonderful story with you, everybody gets a candy bar when you get off the trolley. So have a wonderful rest of your day in Chocolate Town, and thank you so much for coming along.
All right, well, that's going to wrap it up for the trolley tour. I thought that was pretty informative. Definitely had a lot of fun. I think we're going to head into Chocolate World now and check that out and show you what that's all about. Chocolate World's a really awesome place. If you've never been here before, I definitely recommend you check it out. It's free. You can come in here, take a tour of what the facility is. They used to actually give tours through the plant itself. So they created a ride of it, and that's what we're gonna go on now. As well as they have different candy making experiences, a chocolate journey. You can do the Hershey Chocolate World Tour. They have a movie. You can create your own candy bar. There's definitely a lot of things to do here. Plus their milkshakes, their ice cream is delicious. So if you come here, check it out. We're gonna go on the tour now. It's empty in here. A lot of times when you come here, the lines are really, really long and it takes a while to get into. So I think it's pretty cool that they have timelines and a whole bunch of stuff that you can look at. It's almost kind of like a museum per se. While you're waiting in line, it tells you the history about Hershey and the chocolate world and the chocolate factory.
Welcome aboard the Hershey's Chocolate Factory Tour. For your safety, please remain seated with your hands and feet inside the vehicle at all times. We're on our way to the Hershey Chocolate Factory. Your guide will meet you at the entrance. See you inside.
Cupcake is new. I don't think we've ever seen cupcake
I'm a
before.
quality supervisor.
Oh man, it's gonna get hot. Oh my god, we're gonna break.
The grinding turns cocoa nibs into the smooth, dark liquid used to make milk and dark chocolate.
Through cooling tunnels that solidify the chocolate.
Peanut butter?
All of that fresh.
Hey, don't forget about Reese's Peanut Butter Cups. My personal favorite.
Everyone has a favorite. Mine are Hershey's Kisses chocolates.
It's true what they say though. Everybody does have their favorite. Mine, Reese's Peanut Butter Cups. What's yours?
The kisses.
Ooh, she likes the kisses. It's true. She likes the kisses.
Remember that wherever you go, you're never far from a piece of Hershey's happiness.
Look at all those
So be
kisses,
sure
Mama.
to share that goodness with the ones you love.
Hershey's chocolate, Hershey's chocolate,
Hershey's Chocolate World.
wherever you go.
I think one of the best parts about taking this chocolate ride is at the end of it, you get free chocolate. Thank you very much. Look at all this chocolate. I swear I've gotten diabetes just walking around here looking at all the deliciousness. We are gonna go get some milkshakes now and get some chocolate. Look at these milkshakes. It's a pretty cool commemorative tumbler that they have for the 50th anniversary of Hershey's Chocolate World. All right, well, as you can see, we have our milkshakes, so that mission is checked. I think we are gonna head out of here and head back to the campground now. So hope you guys enjoyed this video. We certainly had a good time bringing you along on the adventure today and having you check out Hershey with us. You know, I think it's kind of funny. I take it for granted a little bit. I actually grew up, you know, probably about 15 minutes away from here, driving distance. Fun fact, I actually walked to Hershey Park as a kid. That was pretty exciting. Very long and hot, but exciting. But anyway, don't forget to get entered into our giveaway. The keyword for this video is going to be Hershey. So leave a comment down below, Hershey, on this video. That will automatically get you entered into our giveaway, which continues to run until the end of September. where we will pick one of you lucky viewers to pick something for my merch shop, just kind of as a token of appreciation for following along on our adventures. So like I said, that's going to wrap it up, and we'll see you on our next adventure.